You ever stop to think about like Moses' parents and kind of like, we think of the story through Moses' perspective, but like his parents, if you think about it, like if you read later on in the New Testament in Hebrews, it talks about Moses being, like through faith. Well, Moses was a baby. Moses didn't have any faith. So it's really referencing at that point his parents and their faith. And so most likely they had heard, oh, this works a lot better when you turn it the right way. So if his parents were living by faith for him at that point with the will of God, chances are out, in between pages, in between the scriptures there, they had had an angelic visitation of their own or a vision or something that kind of like everyone was getting with the birth of Jesus. Moses' parents probably had gotten some instruction supernaturally. We know they were operating in faith, most likely following instructions. And then when it comes time for Moses to actually be put in the water, we think of that as almost like a haphazard. They just kind of like put him, they made this thing, they threw him in the water, and well, que sera, like hopefully it all works out. God knows what he's doing, and hopefully the kid doesn't drown or get eaten. But it most likely was a little more strategic than that. In fact, I think there's a lesson here if we really dive into it. It was probably less of let's just throw him into this basket and hope he makes it. God said, so we'll just leave it in his hands now. God called us to do this. It's out of our hands. We don't have anything else to do. Got over the wrong thing. Okay. But unfortunately, that's the way a lot of us live our lives is, God told me to go to this school. And you know what? I want to be in ministry. He called me into ministry. He told me to go to this Bible school. So rather than spending this time studying like I should, I want to go to this Bible study tonight. I know I got those finals coming up in my class, my theology class, my hermeneutics class, but I'd rather go study the Bible with my friends at the young adults group instead. And then praying that God will just bless us on this test and being like, well, Lord, you're the one who called me to Bible school. Help me pass. I'm not doing so well, or I'm going to go talk to my teacher because I need this extra credit, or I need to be able to make up this assignment. Give me favor. Well, why do you favor studying the night before this very important test instead of going to Bible study? Fine, yeah, the Bible study is a good thing, but right, we have to be intentional. And so in the same way that like God called his mother to help save him, she still used her brain. She still used her brawn, right? She still put in the work, is what I'm trying to say. She didn't just give up and say, well, if God is going to save him, he's going to save him. We're just going to chuck him in the river. No, she made an ark. She wove it together. She fastened it with tar so that it wouldn't, made an ark, right? It's the only time that word is used in the entire book of Exodus. It's the same word used for the ark in Genesis to take care of him, to protect him. She had a plan, and then the language used about putting him in the reed, she didn't just chuck him in the water or put him in the stream. It suggests that she gently and strategically placed him. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to be able to see his mother planning with his sister, even rehearsing, going through it. Like, okay, we know that she comes in to bathe at this time. We're going to strategically place him gently in the reeds when we know she's going to be there, knowing the baby's going to start crying before too long, and that they're probably going to find this baby. Now, part of it is, no, they definitely can't guarantee his safety. There was a chance that they would have seen this baby, said, hey, this is one of those Hebrew kids. They're supposed to be killed. Someone has been hiding this one, and we found him and turned him in, and he could have been killed. Or she could have just pulled him out of his ark bassinet thing right there, and she could have just drowned him in the river. That is the God part. That is we're going to do everything we can within our power, and then trust that God will do his side of things. So, with that example, Moses' mother, we see that we do everything we can do within our power, which would be creating the ark, the bassinet as it were, as an ark, fasten it as an ark, securing it, watching, seeing the patterns, knowing that this is where she shows up. Like I said, it doesn't take much imagination to see mom and daughter sitting there, coming up with a plan, maybe even running through it. Okay, you got to make sure, like, you can't be too eager. You have to kind of stroll up on her. It's got to be casual. Then I will come. You will come get me. You're right. The Bible doesn't say they did this, but it's likely. I mean, if it was your kid, don't you think you would put in that effort to plan like that? Rehearse, make it as natural as possible. You're probably going to be super nervous that they're going to be on to you. So I'm sure mom too, daughter came and got her, had to like casually stroll up like, yeah, just a random slave being summoned for a job, not running up excited, trembling as she goes to grab her kid. You're just having to play it cool, just hoping beyond hope that this was going to work out. That was their part. That was a lot of work. Most people just throw their hands up and say, yeah, that's too much. But they did the work. Problem is, in this plan, they can't account for everything. There are factors outside of their control, and that's the part they had to leave to God. Lord, please don't let her kill my baby. I believe that you have got something special for this kid, that you've got something planned for his life. You spoke to us, my husband and I, in a dream. Lord, this is our plan. If you have something better, tell me. But if not, this is what we're going to do. And then, Lord, please give him favor. You see the difference between asking for favor when you're not prepared, you haven't put in the work? You're basically asking for unearned grace. And see how those are two very different things? So many times I think we don't do the work and we just say, God, you take care of it. I'm waiting on the Lord for a job. I'm out of work. I'm waiting on God for a job. How many applications have you put in? How many interviews have you gone on? Well, I'm just trusting that God's got the right thing planned for me. How's that going for you? Well, it's been a couple months. My wife's having to work. But you know what? I'm believing God. Dude, go get a job. Well, I'm waiting for God. Put in the applications. Go to the interviews. Yeah, but you don't understand. It's hard out there. No one's hiring. Okay, but just because no one's hiring doesn't mean that it's illegal to turn in an application and to show up every day. My son's going through this right now. I'm coaching him through this. I'm like, okay, son, turn in an application. One job wanted him to print out, like, make a resume and bring it in to serve coffee. Like, you need a freaking resume to be 15 and serve coffee. But whatever, he did it. He made a resume. He said, take it in. They get rid of those like every 3 months. So like every 2 months, every 2.5 months, take in a new resume. Go in every 2 weeks. Check on the position. Because when that position opens up, they're going to hire whoever they talk to last. They're not going to go through a stack of resumes and applications. You have to be on their mind. You have to be the person that they know you want it. And then all you can do is pray. Same thing with you. No one may be hiring, but they're certainly not stopping you from putting in applications and showing up every couple of weeks, checking in, not thinking outside the box of ways of things you could do. With that, we do everything we can, and then we leave the part that we can't do up to God. We don't ask God to do our part. We don't try to do his part. Those are the two off on the ditch things. People who drive off the ditch and try to do God's part. Why isn't this working? And typically, burn out and have an issue there. People who drive off the ditch the other side and they don't do their part and they just sit around and ask for God, why aren't you doing your part? And they get discouraged. So with all that, we have to do our part.